I hate it. She rewatched the Nemesis video.
It's so good because, I mean, Hannibal's never laughed before. And the fact that he just can't control himself. Like, we've never seen that before. No, Nemesis, no. I love him.
So, another character that we could go through, I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Who?
Chiyoh?
Yeah, Chiyoh.
Chiyoh?
Yeah, we don't see a lot of her. She's only in the beginning of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
They were originally going to go with Lady Murasaki, from the books, but I think there was something about, like, she might be too old to, like, because she's older than Hannibal.
Oh, yeah.
But she was Hannibal's, like, ex-lover.
Mm.
It's kind of dubious. I don't remember how old Hannibal was when he started his relationship with Lady Murasaki. But she was, like, the first person that he loved, like, romantically.
Yeah.
And they were originally gonna have her, but they went with Chiyoh, who was a minor character, who was, like, Lady Murasaki's, like, handmaiden, I think. So I don't know the details of, like, how close Chiyoh is to Hannibal in the books, but she basically takes the place of Lady Murasaki, like, as, not romantically, but of importance.
Yeah.
Lady Murasaki still exists in the show. Like, I would say their history is probably the same, roughly, but she's not in the show, like they were initially gonna have.
I think, the way that she's introduced is really cool.
Yeah.
I like that she is basically the stepping off point of Will really becoming more like Hannibal.
Yeah. Becoming more than human.
Him releasing the guy
so that Chiyoh would kill him.
Chiyoh would kill him, but it also seemed like it was almost like I just want to see what would happen.
Yeah, which is a total Hannibal move. Like, Hannibal's the only guy. Before Will, I mean, Hannibal's the guy who's like, I want to see what would happen. Yeah, very interesting. And Chiyoh fucking just says it. She's like, no, Hannibal would be proud of you.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's like, no, I see you killing him, not me. Like, Will tries to do the whole, like, oh, do you see yourself killing him over and over again? She's like, no, I see you. You did this. Which is good. Although, I suppose after that, Chiyoh doesn't have a problem killing after that. Cause she kills people in defense of Hannibal.
Yeah.
Because she's got, similarly, a complex relationship with Hannibal, like Will does. And I think if you're close to Hannibal, you're in that weird, like, little spot that Chiyoh is, roughly. I mean, Chiyoh is basically Hannibal's family, like the last of his family. And so, Chiyoh's basically just Hannibal introducing Will to the family. You know, as before they get married. But she's like, the way that Will and Chiyoh act together is, like, sorta antagonistic, but, like, I also see them throwing food at each other at a dinner table.
Yeah.
Like, Hannibal's trying to be civilized, and they're both at the dinner table together, and they're flicking food at each other in, like, anger. Like, that's how I view their relationship.
I can very much see that.
Yeah.
I like how she kind of just turns into Miss Badass.
Yeah. Like, she's clearly got a complex relationship with Hannibal. She doesn't want to kill him, but she does kind of curse him.
Yeah.
For the life that she lives. Like, it's very interesting to see what she would do. Because it seems like she's going on her own after Hannibal gets taken in by the FBI. Like, it seems like she's about to go and do her own, like, solo journey, and who knows what's gonna happen there. It seems like most of all, she just wants to be released from Hannibal, but not kill him.
Yeah.
Which is why she was like, oh, I want to cage him. Yeah. And as soon as he gets caged, she's off to do whatever solo badass life that she's gonna do. She's gonna Black Widow it up.
She will 100% will be.
Yeah, right.
She was crazy for no reason.
Yeah.
I love that she's the only reason why Jack is still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that Jack willfully ignores whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
Like, Jack as, supposedly, head officer, policeman, he should be questioning what Chiyoh's doing.
Yeah.
But he's just like, nope, not my can of worms.
Well, it's not like he wasn't corrupt this whole time.
Yeah, that's true. But to be fair, I think, unlike other crime shows that sometimes most of them are, like, propaganda. Right? Hannibal is very obvious in showing that the FBI are idiots, and most of the police are idiots, and when they are caught in their idiocy, they try to cover it up. Like, most crime shows are like, ooh, cops are badass, and they know what they're doing, and they're so smart, and Hannibal, the show, is like, no, they're not. No, they're really not. Even when Hannibal is at his most suspicious, and he's, acting reckless because Will makes him so unhinged, right? The police are like, eh.
Yeah.
Or when they try their best, they fuck up.
Yeah.
People constantly escape from them. Gideon, Will, Hannibal, constantly escaping from them, making them look like idiots. And then the FBI, when they're caught up in their idiocy and people are starting to pay attention to that, they're like, nope, didn't happen. Something else happened, though. Try to cover it up. I mean, we hate Freddie Lounds, but, like, she's not wrong in saying that the FBI are stupid.
No, not at all. I think it's hilarious how open it is in the show.
Yeah.
That, like,
how corrupt the FBI are and, like, the majority of the police system. Yeah. Even though they don't go into it too much, it's so obvious. Like, they bring it up. Like, it's so obvious the police often just mishandle everything. 99%
of the show is the show don't tell.
Yeah.
And it's, like, show everything.
Yeah. Like, and that's basically what, I mean, most serial killers and cold cases, like, the reason they get away is just because the police botch the investigation. Like, they fuck it up. Because most serial killers are dumb. Like, they should be able to be caught. And it's just that the police fuck up the investigation most of the time. Because to be a serial killer, you have to be really dumb.
You really do.
Because it's really dumb to kill one person and then to try and kill multiple people. Like, you're not a smart person. It's just true.
Speaking of killing people.
Yeah.
Let's do somebody he didn't kill. Somebody, Jack Crawford's wife.
Yeah. Bella is an interesting character because I think Bella and Alana are good examples of how Hannibal, fakes being empathetic and emotive to people. It's a really good example of Hannibal really showing that he can reflect back to people what they want to see.
Yeah.
Like, Bella and Alana both think that they're making a connection with Hannibal, but it's really just him shoving a mirror in front of them.
I think it's crazy that one of the things I thought about after the show was one of the last thing that Bella said to Hannibal was, save Jack like you saved me.
Yeah.
And he mostly followed that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but Jack is probably not a happy person by the end of the
No,
show.
not at
I'd
all.
say out of all the characters, Jack probably has the most tragic ending.
His ending of just, wow, everybody left me.
Well, not only that, but Jack did it to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he lost everything when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like, he could have changed it, but he kept making the same mistakes over and over again. And I think what happened is, by the end of the show, he has nothing. He doesn't have his wife. He doesn't have his friends. His friends are either have gone to the dark side or they're dead. You know? Alana, who you could say, oh, she's also got a tragic ending. Yeah, but she's also got the luxury to stay in hiding. She'll always have the paranoia, but she'll probably be able to avoid Hannibal. Will, oh, he has a tragic ending. Sure, but there's something kind of liberating about his ending.
Yeah.
Like, him becoming the monster that everyone thought he was going to be anyways was kind of a nice fuck you.
Yeah.
And the fact that he found Hannibal, who is a monster, but is also the only person who sees him as a person. There's something, like, really triumphant about that. In a tragic way, sure, but there's something so nice when you see people embrace being a monster.
Yeah.
Like, in fiction, sure.
I love it. That's one of my favorite things is I love characters that turn into the monster that they were trying to fight against the whole time.
And embrace it. Not even just become it, but willfully become it. Like, there's something really liberating and triumphant about it. So, I don't have a problem. I don't find Will's ending tragic. Like, there's tragic elements to it that led up to it. But him being with Hannibal at last, it's not tragic to me.
No, I don't think of it as a tragedy. I think, and like you said, there's things that lead up to it that are very tragic.
Like, when you think about it in whole, there's, like, something really sad and tragic about the fact that he's left his wife and stepson, you know, and his dogs.
No, that's something I wanted to bring up too. Is like I am so sad that he found somebody that was going to take care of him and wanted to be with him for who he was and everything. And even I loved that it wasn't the trope of the wife that doesn't want her husband to go off and be the hero, do the things. She wanted him to go do the thing. Like, go ahead.
Right.
Do this for closure. Do whatever you want to do as long as it makes you happy.
Right.
And then it turns into that was probably the worst thing for her to do.
Right. And the fact that I think out of everyone though, it's Jack who has the most tragic ending. And it's interesting because he never ever stopped trying to attain the goal that he wanted. But the problem with the goal that he was going after is it was never going to end. Like, he's always number one, going to constantly try and catch killers. Yeah. And, you know, when he uses people as tools to catch those killers, he tells them, hey, they're killing people. We have to stop this. But it's never going to stop. There's always going to be killers. There's always going to be... And where does it end when you sacrifice other people for that?
Yeah.
You know, and he never stopped doing that. I think his biggest mistake and his biggest downfall was having Will see Hannibal again.
100%. I think there were so many different layers that should have stopped Hannibal and Will from seeing each other again.
Alana and Jack should have not done that. I think that was their biggest mistake, was allowing Will to see Hannibal again.
The life that he could have lived and that he could have... I think that's the most tragic thing. The tragedy of Will was he had a life. He had something that he could have, like, stayed away from everything and just lived the rest of his days. And,
like, Hannibal has isolated him and drawn him to the dark side, but Jack's the one who keeps making him confront it. Jack keeps bringing him into the fringe. Will could have avoided the entirety of the last half of season 3 had Jack just left well enough alone.
Yep.
You know? Like, and Jack could have probably found Dollarhide, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to catch killers. When's it gonna stop the sacrificing people to catch them?
Yeah.
So that's why I find Jack's ending the most tragic out of anyone's, because he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he also knows he doesn't know how to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just gonna constantly be riddled with this guilt and this motivation at the same time.
And I think that's just what his character is gonna do for the rest of his
the rest of his life. Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to stop. He doesn't know. And that was something that his wife said. Mm-hmm. Like, she wanted to leave on her terms, not on whatever life brought her, because she knew that wasn't going to be good for her husband.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Mm-mm.
You know, it didn't work out for him, and who knows if he'll ever sleep again.
And Hannibal did that all on a coin flip.
Yeah. He really did. He saved Bella on a coin flip. He didn't even care.
He really did that on a coin flip.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any more characters after this one, but the Inspector Gadget of Italy. I can't remember his name. Pazzi.
Yeah. Basically the Jack Crawford of Italy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who knows?
The corrupted cop of Italy.
Yeah, maybe the one who was disgraced because he had caught Hannibal, but Hannibal was too slippery and basically defamed this guy and his reputation to the rest of the police force, which is basically what happened to Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that Jack's not going to resort to a bounty hunter, you know, in the future, like Pazzi did?
Yeah,
I think Pazzi's a good reflection of Jack.
It's a good I think there's a ton of reflections of like what characters could be within each other.
Yeah, foreshadowing and their relationships to one another.
I think another reflection just in the series itself is like season 1 for season 2, just like how season 3 is like the first half and the second half.
Yeah, like the way that season 1 Hannibal's the one who won, and then in season 2 for the most part Will's the one who's winning. Will's the one who basically plays up the seduction of Hannibal, which is you can't say that it's not. You know, he plays up the seduction of Hannibal up until the end, and Hannibal's totally caught off guard by it. He doesn't know what to do. That's why we see him at his most monstrous in the final episode season 2, because he's been stripped of his person suit by just the shock of Will's betrayal.
El Monstro.
Yeah.
Most monstrous.
Right.
From what I've heard, there isn't a lot of references. There's like references that he could be El Monstro in the books, but it's very much just like plain day in the show.
Well, I think in the books, Dollarhide is El Monstro.
Is it?
Yeah, in the books.
Oh, I don't know. From what I heard, it was kind of like hinted at that he could be El Monstro.
Oh, in the show, it was definitely him.
It was definitely him.
Yeah, it was in the show. It was him. He was El Mostro in Italy, and he defamed Pazzi, and then got an innocent man killed by death penalty, much in the same way that he was going to do to Will. Is that all, everyone?
I think so. There's... I guess we could talk about Molly herself, but we kind of...
There's not a lot to Molly. We don't see a lot of her.
We could talk about Reba.
We already talked about Reba.
Kinda.
We talked... Oh, I'm thinking of Bella.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Reba.
Reba. Yeah, no, I love Reba a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
She's very interesting to me.
She is probably one of the most interesting characters in season 3.
Yeah, because, she's probably the closest to an actual, like, white hat person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a single character in Hannibal that I find purely, like, morally good.
Yeah, I think she's the closest to a morally good character.
Yeah.
In all of Hannibal.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Beverly.
Beverly's very close, yes. But Beverly still is like,
yeah.
She's still
You know who else is the good boys? Our boys.
Yeah,
good boys.
Zeller and Price.
Yep, they
Zeller
need to have their
and
own
Price
show.
and Beverly are like the most lightest gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
Zeller is a little darker because he's all like weird about Will.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Reba though,
There's nothing bad about Reba.
No, not
no,
at all.
She's like an angel, actually, and that's what Dollarhide sees too.
Mm-hmm. I think Reba brings in a lot of my favorite scenes throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like that might have been actually the first time anybody invites him into their home, like purposefully.
Yeah.
Other than him going in to murder them.
Right.
So he's so alone.
Right.
And I feel like she's the one person that could bring him into a good place.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of in fiction of like, oh, if the girl would have just stayed with him, he wouldn't have become the killer that he was. I think this is very much the like he would have become the killer no matter what. Yeah.
No, he was already too far gone by the time he met Reba.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was earlier,
mm-hmm.
maybe if he only killed one family. Yeah.
But the thing is though, for me, I don't think he would have ever lasted in the like good relationship he had with Reba.
Yeah.
Unless he would have killed those people beforehand.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would have worked if they met earlier because he wouldn't have been the same person.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Because it seems kind of like he wanted to be the person that he was before the change began. When he was with Reba. And so maybe if they had met a lot earlier. Because the way Reba treats Francis is a lot different than he probably has ever been treated.
Yeah.
And the way that he treats her is how she wants to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's blind and she doesn't like people who pity her. And Francis never once tried to be careful around her. He just acted like she was a person.
Yeah.
And I think she liked that a lot. And she treated him like he was just a person. There was none of these, like, prejudice societal barriers between them. Besides the serial killing.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that he killed families.
I think her and him is a good reflection of what Molly is to Will. And I think they're like the two families are a reflection of each other because that's what Dollarhide. That's what he wanted this whole time was like
the perfect family.
Like the perfect family, and that's kind of what Will wanted too. And I think Dollarhide just got it too late. And so he became the killer.
Right.
That Will is going to become.
Right. And I think that they reflect each other in the sense that Will nearly has his perfect family, but the problem is Hannibal's always going to be there as a shadow, much like the dragon is always a shadow in Dollarhide's life.
Yeah.
And I think Hannibal knew that, which is why he was like, well, let's just speed this up and have Francis kill Will's family.
Yeah.
And also, he's extremely jealous. They're both extremely jealous.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that they could have a family together because they would be jealous.
100%.
They couldn't handle their respective other loving someone else.
No, they would not be able to deal with that at all.
Even kids, even siblings, cousins, it doesn't matter who the family is.
Yeah.
It's the fact that there's shared love. Every
time Will has somebody that he loves, Hannibal ruins it.
And
or gets intimate with or anything.
Yeah. To take them away from him.
Will has liked Alana for a long time.
Yeah.
And he almost gets with her for a little bit.
Right. And so then Hannibal moves in and makes sure that it's dead.
Then Will
can't handle that Hannibal took Bedelia with him to Europe.
Yeah.
Because that was supposed to be Will.
Mm-hmm.
And so he fucking spends a whole season bitching at Bedelia.
Yeah,
like, stay away from my man! And Bedelia's like, aren't you married? We're not talking about that right now. Does your wife know how intimate you are with Hannibal? She knows enough.
She knows enough. Oh my god, that was so funny. Both of them cannot deal with each other having somebody else.
Which comes back to the fact that I don't think Abigail would have been able to last.
No, Abigail, even if they had the crime family that they wanted,
it wouldn't last
because she would get in between both of them.
Yeah.
One way or another.
I don't think Will would kill Abigail.
No.
But I do think Hannibal would kill Abigail.
Yeah, because Abigail and Will would want to attach himself to Abigail.
Yeah.
And then Hannibal would not have that.
Right. I think the only way Abigail would be able to survive is if Will was like, go to college right now. Go to college, get out of here.
Yep.
You know? Get out of the house. just get out of here. That's the only way. And even then, who knows?
Yeah. So I guess the last character then is Dollarhide himself.
Dollarhide is very much everything that Dollarhide is pretty much going through the same transformation that Will is. Or Will has been going through the entire series up to this point. And so, killing Dollarhide with Will basically seals Will's embracing his darkness.
I think season 3, the whole season, even with the time skip and everything, is Will embracing the darkness.
Yeah. In season 2, Will was using the darkness to get back at Hannibal. And also in ignoring his own. Like, he knew people saw darkness in him, but he was only using it to get back at Hannibal. In season 3, I think it was him realizing that he's always had it. At least when Hannibal came into his life. And season 3, I think, is definitely him just trying to embrace it.
Yeah.
Or in denial of embracing it. And then eventually embracing it. And I think that he realized that he wanted to be the monster next to Hannibal is when Bedelia told him that Hannibal was in love with him.
Yeah.
I think that's when he realized, I have to break Hannibal out.
Not
when Molly was in the hospital. Not when, he it was when, I think he enacted it by leading Chilton to his accident.
Yeah.
That was him telling Hannibal that he was ready.
Mm-hmm. Hannibal was so proud.
He was so proud.
I love every moment of when Hannibal gets proud of Will for doing something fucked up. Because Hannibal loves manipulating people into becoming his monster or his crime family,
or doing horrible things, and then using it against them.
But he has so much more enjoyment when it's Will.
Yeah, when it's Will, because he sees Will, because he doesn't see people as people. Hannibal doesn't,
Yeah.
But he sees Will for the first time as a person, whereas Will himself has never been seen as a person by other people.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things is, like, no matter what Will did, no matter what Will had with Molly, it would never be the same as what he had with Hannibal, because Hannibal was the first person to really give him...
Right. To me, when Will's with Molly, it seems like he's putting on a person suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not him. He's acting as the husband that he always wanted to be, husband and father that he thinks he should be, but it's not him.
Yeah.
And like he said at the beginning of season 3, the only time he feels like himself and the only time he knows himself is when he's with Hannibal. At his most comfortable is with Hannibal.
Yeah.
They got so many flowery romantic lines.
This is the best rom-com that has ever been created.
You know what's funny, though? The gayest line from the books wasn't even in the show.
Really?
Yeah. So in Red Dragon, right, Will finds out that Hannibal is the killer that he's looking for and is eating people. Right? And he's about to pull his gun out. And Hannibal attacks him. And he says... "Remarkable boy. I think I'll eat your heart." And I'm like, how is that not in the show? How did you not say that in the show?
I think there's so many things that are so adorable between the two.
Yeah, like twistedly adorable.
So now that we're 2 hours in and we've gone through all the characters.
We should go through all the cute moments.
We should go... Well, I was thinking, like, we could almost go through, like, seasons and stuff.
Well, everyone, if they're watching this, then they've already seen the show.
No, they haven't.
Well, we've gone through so many
spoilers.
All
of my friends have not seen this.
We don't need to synopsize the show.
I didn't want to synopsize the show. I just wanted to...
Okay, season 1...
Monster of the Week.
Is a facade. Season 1's a facade. It leads you in thinking that it's a regular crime procedural.
Yep.
And then flips a coin. Or flips the script on you.
100%.
And, boom! Now you're watching a gay horror.
Gay horror. Season 2 is the...
Seduction of Hannibal.
Seduction of Hannibal. It is the... Will is becoming... a lot more morally gray than he even thought he could be.
Yep.
And then all of the Monster of the Week things kind of pushed to the backside.
Yeah, they start fading away. They start up at the beginning of season 2, but then they start
fading away, and then it starts bringing in, like, the murder mystery type stuff, but closer to the main characters.
Yeah. Season 3, Will is pining after Hannibal. Hannibal is pining after Will. Hannibal is embracing his love for Will. Will is embracing his monstrousness. And basically season 3 is straight up a romance.
Straight up.
They've completely abandoned the, Monster of the Week procedural thing. It's gone now. It's focused entirely on Will and Hannibal and their, hijinks.
And entirely on the
hijinks in Europe, and then hijinks in prison.
The Red Dragon arc is the most, like, arc of everything.
Yeah, I love it a lot. It's my favorite arc in the series because it's so tight knit and it's straight up just.
I think
Will is ready to accept Hannibal.
I think that has the least amount of, like, people having problems with this show, because I saw a lot of like, oh, there's plot holes in this, or there's no reason why this would happen, or why does this arc happen in this way. This is the main arc that everybody loves, and I think almost if this would have been the beginning of the third season, they wouldn't have pushed the canceling of the show as hard.
Well, the show was already canceled when they started writing season 3.
Yeah, if it was already canceled, I know I was researching, not like when it was canceled, but like when they announced it, and they announced the canceling 3 episodes in.
Yeah, it was already canceled when they started writing season 3, so they wanted to end with the Red Dragon. I love the Europe episodes, don't get me wrong, and I love the mid-season finale with Mason and Hannibal being treated like a pig, you know, that kind of shit. That was a really good mid-season finale.
I think season 3 started a lot like season 1.
Yeah.
But season 3 I feel was the
culmination.
Culmination. I was gonna say that, but I didn't know if that was a real word.
Yes.
Of the first 2 seasons of like, you have to buy into this to be able to start the 3rd season.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like, the people that go into just a show and just join into a show halfway through, like your dad.
Yeah, oh my god.
They would not understand 3rd season, and they would hate it.
The 3rd season is so romantic. Like, not even just, like, romance between, Will and Hannibal, but, like, the genre of romantic, like, the romantic poetry and stuff. Like, there's something about season 3 that is straight up just a gothic drama.
Yeah.
Like, season 1 is a facade, it's leading you in, it's a crime procedural. But the rest of the show is, like, very much, like, a mixture of a Penny Dreadful, a gothic phantasmagoria, like 19th century novel. That kind of stuff. Like, it's straight up very flowery and romantic and dark.
Yeah, and I think the first 2 episodes of season 3 are perfect, but also are like probably a big turnoff for a lot of people, because of how slow and because the end of season 2 is so fast paced, so many things happening at once. And when you start
season 3, you want to know what happened immediately after, and they don't tell you.
Yeah,
they won't tell you. They're just like, nope, here's Hannibal in Europe.
Here's the 2 people that you know survived.
Yeah, you have no idea if Alana or Jack or even Will survives. Though it's pretty guaranteed.
It's pretty guaranteed that Will is going to survive, because
but you didn't know about the other 2.
But even with that, you're still concerned at where Will is.
Yeah, what's going on. I mean, when season 2 ended, the police were on their way to arrest Will and Jack. You know, for, you know, the crimes that they committed to lead Hannibal in.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't even know if they're in custody or if Jack's dead because he was bleeding out. He was gonna die.
Yeah. Also...
and they just don't tell you.
I think this is kind of hilarious and kind of not. I love that the first episode is all Hannibal, all Bedelia, and then second episode is all Will and kind of Abigail.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd episode, they kind of get back into the swing of things. And then Jack just arrives. Like, he doesn't have his own episode. He doesn't have a...
Right.
He has, like, a good 20 minutes of him reflecting on his wife and stuff like that.
The thing with, his wife's funeral.
There isn't really, like, a reintroduction of him. It's kind of just the reintroduction of him by him going out of his way to ruin Will's life again.
Yeah. This time, though, he didn't bring Will with him. He was following Will because he knew Will was going to look for Hannibal.
Yeah.
And he figured Will was probably going to find Hannibal, and he wants to find Hannibal and bring him to justice, so why not follow Will? So, I mean, this was one of the cases where Jack did not bring Will into the fray. He was just following Will.
Yeah.
Because I think, because there's that scene that I really love, where Will regrets betraying Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
And he wishes that he had actually killed Jack with Hannibal.
Yeah.
And he tells Jack, yeah, I wanted to run away with him. You know, that's a really good scene. And I think that's when Jack finally realizes the actual extent to their relationship.
Yeah, he realizes the extent of their relationship and kind of realizes himself how much he's ruined Will.
Yeah, when she kind of fucked up. But I think it was the first time Jack was actually faced with how much deeper the relationship is. Because I think Alana realized it before she even showed up in the house. Like, she was catching on that there was something a lot more between them.
Yeah.
But I think Jack was completely oblivious up until that moment.
Mm-hmm.
When Will tells him.
One of my favorite things, I don't remember, is it in the first episode? I think it might be in the first episode where Hannibal creates the heart.
Yeah.
In the cathedral.
Yeah, it's the first episode.
And I feel like that's the most like obvious like Valentine's Day gift to Will, but also showing that you broke my heart.
Yeah, because the guy that he origamied into a heart looks like Will.
Yep.
You know, Anthony Dimmond, he was very similar to Will in a lot of ways. And Hannibal was like, I'm gonna take this guy. I'm gonna take my revenge on him without taking my revenge on him. I'm gonna origami him into a heart for my ex.
My love. For my ex.
I think we should go into all the really cute moments.
The cute moments? Okay.
All the gay moments, at least. So there's not a lot in season 1.
There's not a lot in season 1, but I think that's...
But there are some in season 1.
Yeah.
When Hannibal smells him.
Hannibal be smelling. He needs help.
When Hannibal and Will make this really tension-filled eye contact while Hannibal is digging in a guy's chest.
Yeah.
In the ambulance. Like, they're just staring at each other. And it's like, what?
They're like, is Hannibal gonna save him? And Will's just like, is he gonna save him?
Yeah. Like, the way that, like, Hannibal, you're supposed to be doing something here. And they're just staring at each other. And we don't even see anything. The episode ends.
Yep.
Right. What else? What else in season 1, specifically?
I'm trying to think. Season 1.
When they first meet in Jack's office, normally Hannibal is very put off by rude people, right? Mm-hmm. But there's something about Will where his rudeness is like endearing to him. Like, we see it in Hannibal's eyes that he's like, this is a cute boy. He's like, I got a crush.
Yeah. I think it's not entirely like this is a cute moment, but the in season 1, the like when Abigail's in the asylum or whatever, in the hospital, and Will and Hannibal both are trying to like sway her or
to make her feel better. Yeah,
and it's like this is really the first moment of the like crime family.
Yeah, the murder family.
Mm-hmm.
Mads Mikkelsen did say that Hannibal fell in love with Will at first sight.
Yeah.
So there is that. I don't know if Hannibal realized that he was in love, but he did fall in love at first sight. And that's the only instance where I'm like, yeah, love at first sight, plausible. But you can see it in his eyes where, like, anyone else who's that rude to him would die.
Not romantic thing, but not romantic thing with them together.
Yeah.
But Hannibal slowly realizing that he's in love with Will with Bedelia.
Yeah. Where he's sitting there and he's like, love. Yeah.
Yeah, oh wow.
I have to eat him now.
That's crazy. I love Will. I should eat him.
Yeah.
I should eat him to get these feelings to go away.
Yeah,
and that does not happen.
Right. If we're talking still season 1 though, let me think. It's been a while since I watched season 1. I usually start at season 2 and rewatches.
Mm-hmm.
Hannibal's very touchy with Will. Like, very touchy, like, feely.
Yeah.
You know, he's always, you know, Will, who's very touch-starved. And then Hannibal, who's very, like, I need to, like, put my hands all over your face and shoulders. You know, even in season 1, he's very, like, I gotta, like, put my hands on you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Season 1 doesn't have a lot of gay moments because at the time they didn't have a gay agenda. The gay agenda, that wasn't... The characters eventually got away from them, is what Brian Fuller says. Yeah. He's like, I didn't intend for them to fall in love, but I guess that's just what happened.
Season 2 is...
Lots of gay moments. That one's ridiculous, because that's basically the seduction of Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no other way to frame it. That's what Will's doing. As soon as he gets out of prison, he's like, I'm a slut now.
Yeah, 100%.
In season 2, the first really gay moment is when Will first gets out of prison, right?
Yeah.
And well, actually, I would say even before that, when Will tries to have Hannibal killed.
Yeah.
And Hannibal, in like sort of a mocking but also maybe mournful way, arranges a crime scene to be a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I was thinking the murder trial too, where
the murder trial where he basically tries to backtrack and have Will not be put on death row.
Yeah. I can't remember, did Hannibal killed the judge.
He killed the judge. And then Matthew killed the bailiff.
Killed the bailiff, yep.
And then he sent the ear from Abigail's ear from forensics. No, it was the bailiff's ear that Matthew sent to Will. Will first gets out of prison, and he immediately starts up his therapy with Hannibal.
Yeah. And
Hannibal asks, "Are you going to try and shoot me again?" And Will's like, "Not tonight."
Yeah. And well, he says like, "I'm not going to kill you because I'm finally interested in you."
Yeah, something. Right. Every time they talk, in season 2, all the therapy sessions, really sexually charged. Every time. Like, for 100%. No reason. For no reason.
Not a gay moment, but one of my favorite moments, just in general, is Jeremy Davies. He was the horse guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's the actor's name. I love him.
Peter is the guy.
Peter, yeah.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Peter. Peter's so precious. He's Will's friend.
Yeah. I love Peter. I love the actor just in everything that he does.
Yeah, he's good. He's very versatile.
Mm-hmm.
He's great in those episodes too. And my favorite line, which is a favorite line in most of the fandom, is your social worker in that horse? And then when he climbs out of the horse, right? And Hannibal's just like, you might want to get back in there. Yeah. You know what's good for you. That scene too leads an extremely gay moment where Will almost kills him, and Hannibal's like,
yeah, it's actually the same episode of the like, I don't want to kill you anymore. I'm finally interested in you. Yeah,
and that's one of my favorite episodes in season 2, and I love the fact that they're dancing around the fact that they both know what Hannibal is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Will's, but when Mason's concerned, Will straight up just drops the facade and he's like, "Are you gonna eat him?" And Han was like, "I'm thinking about it." Like, cause he hates Mason so much. Yeah. I love that scene where Mason is in Hannibal's therapy and he starts stabbing the chair. Mm-hmm. And Hannibal's like,
yeah,
I am gonna kill you.
Yeah.
So bad. And he's like, no, but I want Margot to kill him. Like, he really wants, again, he wants the best for Margot, you know? And he wants Margot to be the one to kill Mason.
I think one of the cute moments also is when Hannibal sends Randall to
kill
Will, and then
Will drags his body over to Hannibal's house, mm-hmm. and is like, haha, we're even. And Hannibal's just so proud.
He's so proud. This is what I was saying earlier. He's so cute. He's so proud.
Yeah, like, he's so proud. He's like, oh man, my boyfriend's so good at what he does.
My boyfriend's so good at killing.
Yeah, right. Every time Will does something that's, like, unequivocally monstrous, Hannibal's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweet cakes. I got this. We're good. You're so good at what you do.
I don't think there's a lot more that happens that's really cute in season 2.
Well, the entirety of the last episode of season 2 is not necessarily cute, but very homoerotic.
Yeah.
Like, even Hannibal gutting Will is, like, really charged.
Oh, when Will says you're fostering codependency.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's basically what they are.
Yep.
I mean, Will says, like, you don't want anything in my life that's not about you. And Hannibal straight up just says, I just want the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, saying, I'm the best for you.
Yeah.
You know? It's so good. I mean, I love those codependent assholes.
With all the cute things, I think one of the cutest things that is just a metaphor without a showing without telling, but basically telling, is the teacup.
Yeah.
Thing that keeps either shattering or rebuilding itself multiple times. I love that metaphor a lot because it's basically telling without telling.
Yeah, it's telling us that Hannibal can't shatter Will for good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hannibal's been looking his entire life for something that he can break, but not break Coley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Will's the first time he's found someone who comes back together.
Yeah.
The entire episode the entire final episode, just between Will and Hannibal. There's nothing that can compare to just how romantic that final episode is.
They are adorable.
You know, at that point, Will's fully committed to breaking Hannibal out. He's really honed his manipulative skills. You know, he knows what he's doing. He fucking breaks out Hannibal.
Yeah.
You know. And then him and Hannibal go off the cliff and supposedly survive.
Supposedly.
They probably did, because we see that scene with Bedelia. So they're married now. I mean, that was basically a wedding ceremony.
Yeah, that was basically a wedding
ceremony. Them killing Dollarhide was a wedding ceremony.
I think that was the cutest thing that they've done together.
Yeah.
Is murdering Dollarhide.
It was! Dollarhide. And then the way it cuts to Hannibal, like, completely in awe of Will. Like, he's never seen anyone like that before.
And then the way that he helps Will up and then they just, like, embrace.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
It was so romantic. From what I know, Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen tried to make it as romantic as possible without the kiss. Because they couldn't kiss, but they could make it as intimate as possible. And they did. I think they delivered.
Yeah, 100%. I think with them being so gay and cute together, I think I I think it was almost like the closer that Will and Hannibal got together, the more just blood porn started happening.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's just blood everywhere.
I heard that Brian Fuller wanted to film a sex scene between them where they were covered in blood. So, I mean,
yeah, it's blood porn. It's literally blood porn.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that people were saying was a downside.
I don't think so
but
at all.
All of the blood and all of the everything that was like gory about it was purposeful.
Yeah.
In the way that it was used.
Yeah, it was like a rebirth in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gore and the blood, them completely at their base attributes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pure animalistic monsters together at last. I mean, the blood was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bloodier the better. Honestly. But that's just me because I love horror romance. I love romance between people that are monsters. Or that are becoming monsters. I love that shit. So the blood is an upside for me.
Yeah. I love the hell out of it because of all of that it's used for.
Yeah.
It's it does kind of like it was at the end of the second season and very much so the end of the third season, but both used in a way to almost show like also how close those two are too, because of like how much blood they're sharing.
Yeah. The way that they bleed into each other's wounds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, it's... Come on.
How gay can you get? Really?
I've heard some people criticize Hannibal for being queer-baiting, but I don't think people understand what queer-baiting means. There are a lot of people who don't understand what queer-baiting means. Queer-baiting is when, like, specifically for shows, right?
Yeah.
Is when shows use a queer audience, right? Mm-hmm. They want that queer audience, but they don't want to alienate the homophobic viewers.
Yeah.
Right? So they constantly tease possible queerness happening without actually delivering. So they're taking advantage of that queer audience for money, basically.
I think
that's not what Hannibal's doing.
No, because Hannibal 100% would have gone all the way if they were allowed to.
Yeah, studio wouldn't let them go that far. And also, the way Hannibal started, it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
The Hannibal turning into a romance was not planned at all. The characters grew into that.
Yeah.
You can criticize Brian Fuller all you want, but he said that the characters got away from him. He was not, when he started the show, he was not intending for them to get together, and it's just sometimes the characters became the gay agenda. I think they would have gone all the way had limitations not been involved. We gotta remember, I mean, Hannibal came out in 2013 and ended in 2015. When Hannibal came out, gay marriage still wasn't legal. You know?
Yeah.
It still wasn't as progressive as we would like it to be. Nowadays, I would say that Hannibal would have a kiss. They would have sex. You know, all of that shit. I think we would have gotten to see it a lot more. A good example of queer baiting, though, is like Sherlock.
You know, I haven't never watched Sherlock.
You don't need to watch it. It's bad. No offense, Sherlock fans. I think most Sherlock fans know.
Yeah.
At this point. But that's a class example of queer baiting. Mm-hmm. So Stephen Moffat's a hack, and he's not good at writing shows.
Jesus.
He's not good at it. He's good at, like, build up and implying really interesting things, but he's not good at delivering those interesting things. When you watch a Stephen Moffat show, you're constantly like, all right, there's a lot of hidden intrigue here. I can't wait for us to get to it eventually. You'll never get to it. It will never happen because he doesn't know how to write it. And he's bad at shows, and he sucks. Sorry. But when he was writing Sherlock, right, that's a good example of queer baiting because they wanted that queer audience, so they constantly made jokes and were teasing about Sherlock and John Watson getting together, right? Mm-hmm. But Stephen Moffat and the writers of Sherlock had contempt for the queer audience that was watching it and picking up on the jokes that they were making and never delivering on it. And then when their fans asked them about it, they said, why you have to make everything gay? You know, that kind of shit. That's a good example of queer baiting. Hannibal was not that. I understand why you would go into Hannibal and be like, where's the explicitness here? But, like, that's not what queer baiting is. Also, when you look at older shows, even older than Hannibal, like 90s shows that were queer-coded, which is different, you get a lot of people who are like, oh, this is queer baity. Star Trek Next Gen is queer baity. Fucking no, it isn't. Most of the people writing Star Trek Next Gen wanted to show representation, but were constantly held back, so they were forced to only rely on queer coding, which is it's an underlying, like, this character is definitely queer, but we'll never be able to say it. You know, that kind of shit. And Star Trek Next Gen, when you've got younger people who are watching it and they're like, that's queer baity. Why aren't they getting together? Fucking, it was the 90s. Yeah. They couldn't. They literally couldn't. And when you get gay rep in the 90s, you have no idea how much fucking risk they were taking for queer rep. How many people's jobs were on the line. Because at a moment's notice, a studio could just be like, fuck you. You know, you don't even realize. So a lot of people like to throw out queer baiting when it's actually just queer coding. Yeah. And people just don't understand words.
I think it's also a thing of, like, the what can we get mad at scenario.
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
All of everything on Twitter right now is what can we get mad at.
Don't even get me started on, like, TikTok, which is even worse. TikTok, if you're breathing, you're oppressing me specifically.
100%.
Like, I have to get off TikTok sometimes because I'm like, what the fuck was that take?
Yeah, I stay away from that side of TikTok. Every time I get something like that, I immediately do the not interested.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. Most of the time when I do run into those takes, it's someone stitching it, being like, what?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But I do see some of those videos where I'm like, where did you come to that conclusion?
So, what we're saying is, Hannibal is queer bait.
Yeah. I think it's, to be honest, even without a kiss, I think it's pretty confirmed.
No, it's pretty confirmed. It's not, like,
they literally said that they were in love with each other.
Yeah, no, one of the funniest things that I've ever heard you say was, like, how do straight people watch this?
Yeah, I have no idea what experience straight people watching Hannibal get from Hannibal.
I mean, without you telling me all of this stuff as a straight man, I don't know what I would have seen because I am so inversed with, like, I think there is not more than 3 of my friends that are also straight. Yeah. So I don't know what I would have seen because I would have seen it through the lens of, like, I have so many friends that are, like, in so many different, like, areas. Yeah. What would I have seen if I was just straight?
Yeah, like, what do straight people see when they watch Hannibal? Like, I genuinely have no idea what kind of show they're watching.
I don't know, because I definitely, like, without you telling me all that, I would have been like, that motherfucker gay. Yeah,
right. I mean, true. But you're also, you're surrounded by people who are in those. If you were just like, if you only had straight friends.
See, what I have to do is, like, I have to think of it as, like, what would my parents' generation see it as? Yeah. And I have no idea.
I have no idea what kind of show they watched.
I don't know. What show did they watch?
I mean, surely there were straight people watching Hannibal, and I really want to know what they saw.
They probably saw, oh man, those are some bros.
Yeah, those
guys are some bros.
They became friends at the end.
they become good friends at the end. Oh my god. So this is a random tangent, completely off. I have my manager knows about this podcast.
Oh yeah.
And they are just like, can I listen to your podcast as I'm moving? And because they're going all the way to the other side of the country.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Why?
Because they're moving with their kid and their mom.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, maybe...
So it's 3 generations of, like, please don't listen to this in front of them.
No, I think they should. I think they should. That'll be funny.
No, it is not okay.
It'll be hilarious.
Uh...
For the record, I think Hannibal is one of my biggest obsessions, and I think it'll stay that way.
It's something that I will never let go of. It's one of those shows that I like went into going, this is going to be a show I like.
Yeah.
Into a show of like, this is one of my favorite shows I've ever watched.
Yeah, and I think that's why the fandom never dies. I think that's why the fandom is so alive and like continuously makes trending sometimes. Even though the show's been off the air for 7 years.
There's so many elements into it. Like, if you're just a casual watcher, you'll probably be confused. Mm-hmm. But you'll enjoy the ride. Yeah. If you're a lot more intellectual, so not me, you'll find a lot of things that you'll love that are hidden meanings or hidden... Yeah. There's so much to this.
Yeah, and it's like endlessly rewatchable, which I think is good for a show. 100%. I mean, I love shows that, you know, once you finish it, you're done. You're finished it. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But there's something about Hannibal where you can rewatch it over and over again and notice new things. Yeah. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you were saying that, like, in the time that you and I have watched the show, because I am a terrible person and can only watch a couple episodes at a time sometimes. You've rewatched it 20 times.
Yeah, I like to turn it on and then just leave it on and watch it again and again and again. And I notice new things every time, and I end up writing more, like, meta commentaries about it. Mm-hmm. Because it's just like, oh, I noticed this! Oh my god, I made this connection. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Look at that. That's cool. You know? That's super even more gay.
Well, that's gayer than I thought the first time.
Right. And I think that's really good for a show to be to be rewatchable.
Do you think Hannibal is demisexual?
I heard he's omnisexual.
I guess. Yeah.
That's what Brian Fuller says.
I was just thinking of, like, he has to have a romance with it, and he is, like, so romantic with Will.
No, because he doesn't even know Will when he first meets him, and he's like, I'm in love with that guy.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Right? The only thing is, like, we don't know what Will is. We know that he probably thought he was straight before he met Hannibal. So maybe he's, like, pan or bi or something.
I could see bi. I could see him, like, transitioning into something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't. Because, like, even at the end when he's with Hannibal, I see him as the straight man. But he's, like, definitely in love with Hannibal.
Yeah. I think season 2 is probably... There's also an element of not only, like... his conflicting feelings of Hannibal, but probably, like, I'm a straight guy, aren't I? You know, probably a good amount of season 2 is just like, I'm straight, right?
Hannibal is his exception.
Yeah, right. I think...
And I would choose the same. I would choose Mad Mickelson for
Yeah, I mean, we've all got our people where they're like, alright, they're the exception to them. You know, I'm, for the most part, accepted that I'm asexual, but there are people, like, specifically really androgynous people, that I'm just like, okay, all right.
You scared me.
I understand the appeal. Something about really androgynous people, just love it. Love it. I love that you've confused me.
Okay. So I thought of something.
What?
That we didn't talk about.
What?
We didn't talk about his superpower.
The smell?
Well, no. Will's superpower of being super empathetic.
Yeah,
to the point that he goes to bossing Say.
What?
We have invited you to Lake Laogai. That is the thing that I said every single time the like pendulum thing happened, where he was like reliving the crime scene.
Yeah, he can see the killer's perspective.
I just wanted to bring up the Lake Laogai joke.
Yeah, that's funny.
Why do you hate me? Okay. So in conclusion, I hate the show. It's actually the worst show that I've ever seen.
Oh yeah? I agree. I think it doesn't hold up.
It doesn't hold. Yeah, no, it doesn't hold up to today's standards.
No, I think it aged very poorly. And I don't think anyone's gonna talk about it in even 10 years, even few years, even next month. People are gonna stop talking about Hannibal. For the record, the fandom is dead. It's never gonna get a season 4.
Never gonna get a season. Netflix will not pick it up in the next couple years.
That might be for the best. You know how Netflix treats shows.
No, because Netflix did amazing with Lucifer.
That's true.
Like they brought all the same writing staff, all the everything.
Yeah, and honestly, even though I'm not done with season 4 yet, the writing's a lot more focused.
Oh, definitely.
Season 3 was so unfocused.
I feel like the writers were allowed to expand into whatever they wanted a lot more.
Yeah.
So Netflix has some gems.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of anything by what's his face? The guy who did Haunting of Hell House.
Yeah.
Any of his shows on Netflix usually are gold. Honestly. Midnight Mass, favorite. Love
I haven't watched that one.
Vampires.
It's
always vampires.
Of course it's vampires.
You know how I am. I can't help it. I have no standards for vampires either. But
no, you don't.
It always helps, though, when a vampire thing is, like, really good. And I'd say Midnight Mass is one of them.
Do you have any, like, horrible vampire shows that you just hate?
That I hate?
Yeah.
No, because I haven't watched Vampire Diaries yet.
Oh, yeah. Should that be the next thing we watch?
No, because it's fucking 8 million years. Like, it's so many seasons.
Don't worry about it. We got this. We'll finish it in the next 10 years.
I don't know if I really want to watch it right now. I know it's bad, but, like, fun bad.
Yeah.
I heard the main girl, though, is, like, just the worst character.
My brain, like, automatically wraps that into the same category as, like, Supernatural.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same. It's basically the same.
They're exactly the same.
They are the same. No, but the main girl in Vampire Diaries, I heard she's the worst character.
Really?
Yeah. Like, everyone hates her. Which is funny, but, like, I feel like that's gonna get really annoying.
Yeah.
It's also got my least favorite vampire trope, I think you know. The reincarnated love interest.
Oh, yeah.
Hate that trope. That's actually it being applied to vampires started with Dark Shadows.
Really?
Yeah. Dan Curtis, who did Dark Shadows, he's the guy who applied it to vampires.
Wow, we went all the way around full circle.
Yeah, we went right back to Dark Shadows. The thing in Dark Shadows, though, is even though, like, the woman that he goes after is, like, reincarnated for the roughly, she doesn't like him. Like, she doesn't like Barnabas romantically. Like, they always turn it into a romance story, like, oh, it's so romantic that, you know, he's only going after you because of his dead wife. No, it's not. But in Dark Shadows, it's not requited.
Yeah.
So he's just being, like, an obsessive creep.
Perfect.
And he loses. Because he gets with Julia, who he actually has a relationship with. You okay?
My brain shut off.
You were gonna say something.
I was gonna say, like, Hannibal, but I couldn't connect it that well.
No. The closest thing he has to, like, the reincarnated is just that he finds Abigail to be close to Misha.
Yeah. We love Hannibal. I think I will love Hannibal for the rest of my life. I don't really rewatch shows, but that is definitely a show that I would want to rewatch.
It's so rewatchable. It really is. Like, you can just keep watching it. And notice new things. And then there's always the fandom that never shuts up.
Thank you for showing it to me.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Yeah, I told you. I wasn't going to show you some, like, subpar show that I liked, but I wasn't sure you weren't going to like. Mm-hmm. I knew you were going to like Hannibal.
Yeah.
So, it worked out.
Next time on Game Grumps.
Hey, shut up.
Next time on Gin and Coffee, we'll do something that's a lot more useless.
Don't we always? Goodbye.